Well, we're back out on another hike this morning. This one's kind of the same and completely different at the same time.
Stick around and we'll get right to it.
Hey, welcome back guys, Jason, KM4ACK. Today I'm back out on the trail to do another targeted contact, this time with a comms channel. In addition, I'm going to be doing some extra testing while I'm out here. One of the things that we want to test is GMRS capabilities between myself and my wife while I'm out here doing this hike. Now, in case you missed it, as of yesterday, I believe today is January the 15th, so I believe that happened on the 14th, Verizon had an extended outage that lasted for over 10 hours, or right about there. So we want to take GMRS and just make sure that we can communicate even if those cell phones go down. Now, fortunately, ours weren't affected by that outage, but tomorrow it could be ours that get taken out instead. And we're fortunate here in Middle Tennessee, we've got several good GMRS repeaters in this area. But I just wanted to bring it out and try it with an HT with basically nothing but a rubber duck on it and see how well that was going to work. So I left the wife with an HT and a signal stick antenna back at the house. I talked to her just after I got out of the truck before I started hiking, and I'm going to give her another call as soon as I get to the spot where I'm going to be setting up the HF radio this morning. All right, so I just got to my spot. I'm trying to verify a couple of things. Now, at the very beginning of this video, I said this was going to be very similar and very different. If you remember the last time I was out here, I was trying to do a targeted contact with the Tech Prepper, and that was over in Arizona. Well, today we're going to be doing it with the comms channel, and that's just on the other side of the state. So it's very similar, but it's very different. We've got to work with different propagation conditions. If we try to do this on 40 meters, say overnight when the band goes long, well, we're probably not going to be able to make that happen. Maybe in that case, the right choice would be 80 meters. But right now we're out here. It is right at 1741, so about 19 minutes before we're scheduled to make this contact. And we will be using my end-fed half-wave on 40 meters for this. Now, a lot of you pointed out last time that I was never going to make that contact to Arizona because of my antenna configuration, and you were absolutely correct. The first way I set it up was for NVIS, so I could reach out to another gateway over in Arkansas. And I was pretty certain that it wasn't going to work when I tried to make the trip to Arizona on 20 meters, but I set it up initially for that first connection to Arkansas. And of course, after I reconfigured the antenna, well, we did make that targeted contact successfully happen. So let me give you guys a quick glance of the gear. We are using some different stuff today. Let's see if I can get it turned around. And there we go. We've got the micro PA50 amp again. This time we're running the EmComm 705. I've got the BioEnno 3 amp hour battery back there. And then I'm using one of these new Smitty switches. Just one of the very basic ones. It's got a 30 amp fuse in it. You put power on one side, you get 3 outputs on the other with a nice on-off rocker switch. And of course I'm running, let's see if we can turn this around. There we go. The X1 Carbon laptop. I'll be running Vara HF today with PAT menu and FL rig. And I'll turn the screen on so you guys can see it here in just a second. See if we can get that adjusted a little bit better. Whoop, wrong way. Always do it backwards when I'm looking at the camera backwards. But I am going to go ahead and see if I can make a quick contact since we're in an NVIS configuration. I'm going to see if I can make a quick connection to that Arkansas gateway again. I usually have pretty good luck with that. And then we'll have that finished up and ready for the targeted contact in about 17 more minutes. We're using APRS, so I'm running APRS Droid on the phone, and I've got the Kenwood D75 sitting over here, and we're using APRS to coordinate this. Now, that's a little bit of cheating going on there because there's so much distance between us that without the internet, we wouldn't be able to use APRS. If you're in range of the same digipeater, you can use it and you don't need the internet at all. But when we're spanning longer distances, APRS messages relies on the internet. It's going from my radio to the digi, then going through the internet from the digi to the closest digi to him, and then it's being repeated back out over RF to his station. So it's kind of a hybrid system, but we definitely couldn't make that work with that much distance unless we were maybe both on mountaintops at both locations. We might can make it work simplex there, but basically we need a digipeater between us that we can both hear, or we're going to be relying on the internet. So I think it is a little bit of cheating, but hey, it's still RF. All right, looks like he is connected. For whatever reason, he did not hear my call. Oh, that was weird. Oh, that was really weird. We got a disconnect for some reason. I am not answering him now. I'm definitely still listening. I'm seeing his signal. It started to answer and then it disconnected. So might have been a glitch. I'm going to give him a second and see if he can try that again. So I just sent him an APRS message. I'm not sure why that first one disconnected, but told him to go ahead and give it another try. And it looks like, yep, there we go. I am not sure why mine is disconnecting. That is weird. Strange, strange, strange. I have no idea. I've never seen it disconnect like that before. Connected. Incoming connection. And then it does a, that is odd. I have no clue what's going on here. I've never seen this happen with a Vara connection. It literally, it starts the connection and then like on his second transmit, it just disconnects. All right, so we'll just send him a APRS message to try again, and we'll see if this one goes any better than the others, because literally, this is one of them weird things I've never seen before. I don't have any issues with Vara being stable on Linux, so I literally am just kind of clueless as to what's going on with this peer-to-peer connection. I run this thing on a daily basis. I do peer-to-peers on a fairly regular basis, and I've never seen this before. So this is one that I'm going to have to take a look at. Maybe I'll see something editing this video. If I do, I'll put it here on the screen or maybe jump in with an explanation. But I'm literally just not sure exactly what's going on in this particular case. And I don't have an acknowledgement from him for him to try again when I sent that APRS message, but hopefully we'll get a ACK from him in a second. And by the way, Ham Radio 2.0 has sent me an APRS message as well. So me and him text back and forth quite a bit on APRS. I have no idea. I am so confused on this. All right, so Vara, whatever that happens to be, it's just not going to work. And this is where the PACE plan comes into play. You need a primary, alternate, contingency, and emergency. So we're going to move to the second part of our PACE plan. Of course, APRS is part of that, but we're also going to now use JS8 call. And I'm going to try to move up. Whoop, I need to get that off my screen. Let's try to move up to fast instead of normal. And I think he's going to be able to copy. So we got an incoming message from him. And I really think he's strong enough that we can move up to that fast, maybe even turbo. We'll take a look at that and just see what happens. So he says, we picked a cold day. He is absolutely right on that. And the wind, that's what's the brutal part. The temperature is not bad, but the wind is pretty rotten today. All right, so we're going to hit him with fast mode and hopefully just ask him if he's able to copy that. And as long as he says yes, then I'm going to stay in fast mode. I'm putting out about 12 watts for JS8, which should be more than enough. All right, well, I've got to get back and try to figure out exactly what happened with Vara. I'm going to set up my test box with another radio and try to make that peer-to-peer connection again between two of my radios and see. I know there was a recent new version of Vara that came out, and I have not updated to that version. I know in the past there was a change, and you couldn't have two different versions because they weren't compatible. So that might have been what happened to us today, because I'm at least a point version behind. But I really don't think that's the case. Be sure you're subscribed to the newsletter, because I'll probably drop something in there if I don't do a full video, if I can figure out exactly what caused Vara to do that weird disconnect thing on us today. And then the other thing I would say that we learned was the importance of a backup plan. Have a PACE plan, and Utilize it, because you never know. That first thing that you choose that you want to work just might not work. And it might come down to your contingency or your emergency plan to make it happen. Hey, and a big shout out to the comms channel for helping me out with this video. If you haven't seen his channel, I'll leave a link to it down in the description below.
All right, so a little bit more information about that failed Vara connection, because I didn't think it was super clear in the video itself. What would happen is my station was set to listen for incoming peer-to-peer connections, and I had put that checkbox by accept 500 hertz connections. I would hear his signal. It was plenty strong enough. I mean, we had great propagation between the two of us that day, so I was hearing him without any trouble. My station would answer and then almost immediately disconnect with an exchanged failed error message down there in the terminal window on Winlink. I never could determine what was causing that. I came back home, I plugged up a couple of different radios back here on the desk, attempted that same peer-to-peer connection, and had zero issues. And I put messages in both outboxes to make sure it would definitely transfer those messages back and forth, and had zero issues with it. So I still, a week later, haven't figured out exactly what caused that failure in the field. If anybody's got any ideas, please leave it down in the comments below, because that is the first time I've run into it, and it was really strange, and I can't replicate it to try to find the issue. I worked with a new version of Vara, the very latest, and then on the other machine I had the one that was on mine that was behind, and then I updated both of them and did it again. Neither time did I experience any issues with that peer-to-peer connection. So I'm literally at a loss for exactly what happened on this. But this video just goes to highlight how important a PACE plan is when you're trying to make a targeted contact like this, because sometimes things just won't work. Maybe it's band conditions that aren't in your favor. Maybe it's a particular mode that is not working out for you. And when you give yourself multiple options, you've got a much greater chance of success.
If you found today's information helpful, be sure to give us a thumbs up before you head off. We will see you guys on the next one. Until then, 7-3.